What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Filter Free with Tahera Rene Christy. On today's show, we have Dr. Joycelyn Hughes, who is here to talk a little bit about her business as a mindset empowerment coach, Desire and Truth Enterprises. She's a published author. She's a motivational speaker, and she has been a holistic educator for quite some time. She recently got to do the commencement speech at her graduation at Howard University. I'm so proud of her. I'm proud to have known her since high school. We go 20 years back. She's also a beautiful singer and has sang and been under the ministry of Walter Hawkins. This woman has an amazing story, and I can't wait to talk a little bit about it. But first, my theme song.
It's time to listen up to the sound of hope for a good tomorrow. 'Cause it's filter free with Tahera Rene Christy. Yes, it's filter free with Tahera Rene Christy. Oh, it's filter free with Tahera Rene Christy. Oh, it's filter free with Tahera Rene Christy.
Welcome, everybody. It's Filter Free with Tahera Rene Christy. I've got Dr. Joycelyn here right now, who is going to bless us with her presence. She is a new mommy. She is an author. She is a motivational speaker. She is from Oakland, California, baby, and proud of it. Everybody help me welcome Joycelyn Hughes.
Hello.
Yay!
I'm Christy. So glad to be here, and thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of your wonderful podcast. I'm excited to talk with you, and we have a long history with one another, so it's just wonderful to see both of us growing so much.
Oh,
so,
absolutely.
Let's talk
about that history. So we're both from Oakland, California. I showed up at Skyline High School in, I want to say, 1995 in the 10th grade, and I came on campus, and I believe that we were in somebody's choir class. He was either choir,
that's
gospel,
correct.
something,
Gospel
choir. That's it. And then there was this girl, beautiful girl with a head wrap on. I was like, okay, she deep. She deep. We were 15 years old, and she got her head wrap on. She's real stoic and walked in, owning the whole entire
14.
place. Right. We were both sopranos.
I was 14.
You were 14.
Yeah.
Oh, see, young
and
I
was
that's
to the
right.
In the class. Mm-hmm.
She was a baby. She had Similac she was wiping off of her bottom lip. I'm just saying, just brand new to everything, but was more mature than everybody in the room. And so I was like, who is that girl? I'm going to get to know her. And so we sang together for literally years. We were a part of an a cappella group called the Urban Harmony Movement, which was amazing, literally changed my life. I know where they came into our high school, Skyline High, and they taught us a cappella music. And so it's the foundation of why I do so much damn harmony in my songs. I remember showing you some music.
Something?
Yeah.
Yes, and can I say something to Tahera? You are the one who taught me how to harmonize.
Oh,
it was you. It was you. It was because of you. Because there was a time when I was singing, and I was singing everybody's part. I was in key, but I'd sing everybody's part. And then it was you who taught me how to harmonize. So now I can harmonize with just about anything. I practice. I just do it without without thinking of it.
Right.
But it was you.
Oh,
it
man.
was you.
That's crazy. You're so funny. I be hearing stories about me from back in the day before, I filtered my Gemini-ness. And people were like, yeah, Tahera used to tell me all the time I sounded crazy as hell. And then you would correct me. And you're like, I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. They're like, no, it's cool. I learned. But yeah, you was real tough on me. I'm like, I'm sorry.
You were. In fact, okay, so Tahera, remember my first solo, and I hope it's okay to talk about the podcast, but
do.
My first solo was I need you, Lord, in my life today. Only you can make the way.
Yes.
And I was just running all over the place. So I just, and you were like, Joycelyn, sing the melody. And at first I was offended, but I was like, no, she's right.
Right. I'm need you to stick to one part, okay, Beyonce and them. And Beyonce hadn't even come out yet. I was like, you Beyonce, Michelle, Latoya, Kelly, everybody.
Right. You know, I just knew because at that time Brandy and Monica had come out, and so they were running, and I was like, oh, I'm about to run all over the place too. And but you said sing the melody, and that helps me out so much.
You have such a beautiful voice, and you know, just to talk a little bit about the music, because that is how we met. And you know, I met my husband through that same program, which is so crazy, so long ago. But you had the blessing and the privilege of singing with Walter Hawkins for years. What was that like?
That was amazing. So I went to, it's so funny because I grew up, I went to, if you remember Tahera, I attended a Beth Eden Baptist Church. And to this day, I'll always be grateful for Beth Eden. I learned hymns through Beth Eden, again, learning harmony and all that, you know, good old school stuff that helps me out today. But I knew that if I ever wanted to really expand myself, not only spiritually and most importantly spiritually, but musically, that I needed to go to Love Center Ministries. And it is so odd because I knew Hawkins music and didn't know they were in Oakland. Really crazy.
Really? Oh, that is crazy.
Really crazy. Yes.
That is crazy.
In fact, one of my solos, one song we sang, you and I sang in the gospel choir was "Don't Wait Till the Battle Is Over."
Now. Hey,
didn't even know that was an Oakland song.
Yes, girl, straight up from the Bay.
Didn't know that was a Hawkins song.
Yes.
And so anyway, I went to Love Center in 2005.
Yeah.
And you had to be, I think 25 to be in the choir.
Wow.
And I wasn't. I just kind of snuck in, though I auditioned as if. They didn't even ask me.
Good. You was always so stoic. You've always been mature. It don't matter. People gonna let you. And the 25 was for the maturity level. That's all it was.
That's right.
But you made it. You made the cut.
I made it in there, and I sang, and it was such a blessing. Not only the singing, but just the ministry period, and hearing Bishop speak, and I mean, it just was a wonderful experience. You know, one of the hardest parts about me leaving Oakland was leaving Love Center behind. Physically, but always in my heart.
Right.
I owe a lot of the growth that I've had through the years to Love Center. But it was amazing to sing behind Walter Hawkins, Edwin Hawkins, Lynette Stevens Hawkins, Lynette Hawkins Stevens, excuse me. And it's just they are so talented, but more importantly, I mean, these people were genuine. They weren't all celebrity. You could walk up to Ed, you could walk up to Lynette, to Bishop, and talk to them. You know how other celebrities are kind of standoffish. They were not that way.
You know, it's so funny. I wished Lynette Hawkins Stevens happy birthday on Facebook like 5 years ago, and she was like, "Oh, thank you so much." I was like, "Oh my God!" She was just so normal and
she'll
sweet.
write you back. She is so sweet.
That's awesome.
She is so sweet. Yeah, but it was awesome. I'm singing in Love Center choir, and I got a chance to sing behind so many gospel greats, including Andre Crouch, Donnie McClurkin. I've even sung behind Patti LaBelle because of Love Center Ministries. Byron Cage.
Wow.
I mean, the names are endless. So it was just a wonderful, wonderful experience, and I'll always be grateful.
It shapes who you are, and it's part of your foundation, which is so beautiful. And so let's kind of transition into that. Like, let's talk about Joycelyn. How did you become who you are today? Like, I know your mother and your father, and talk about your Jamaican background and roots, and kind of like how did you grow up? You got a brother. Let's talk about who you were as a little girl growing up in Oakland, California, and how you got to where you are today.
Sure. So the answer, you really did say what it is, my mother and my father. So my mom is from Dominica, West Indian. And then my dad is old school Houston, Texas. And then my parents were older than a lot of our peers, parents. So I grew up in a home with parents who were older. So I learned older, my mannerisms were older.
I remember,
my understanding of things was older because of my parents. My mom was pretty strict, but not strict to the point where I was in a dungeon somewhere, just strict. She didn't want me to grow up too fast. And so And I think you may remember some of that.
Oh yeah.
So a lot of my maturity, quote unquote, it came from my mother. It came from the fact that I had older parents.
Yeah.
We went to Baptist church, grew up Baptist, again, Beth Eden Baptist Church, where I got a lot of my discipline, especially musically, a lot more than what Oakland Unified School District.
Girl.
Props to OUSD when they still had legitimate music programs, and they still do. But I'm just saying, like, I'm one of those kids that from 3rd grade to 12th grade, I was in music somewhere. And so Beth Eden Baptist Church really solidified that discipline,
right,
music-wise, which informs the rest of your being.
Right.
So I grew, that's some of my upbringing. Just heavy in the church, heavy in the word, studying the Bible thoroughly. Sometimes, I remember a lot of ministers, older people would be surprised at how much I knew from the Bible, but I studied, and I'm talking about a young girl buying Bibles and just going in, trying to figure out, who is God and who is God for me. And how can I exemplify who God is in the best way? So that's some of my upbringing.
And so talk about your education, like what you kind of were in Skyline, which was a magnet program for music. And then how come you didn't go the music route? Like what made you go the educational collegiate route, and gotten yourself to a doctorate to this day?
Sure. So yes, high school wise, I went to Skyline, as you said, and it was magnet. And at that time, it was considered the performing arts high school of OUSD.
Oh, yes.
I wanted to go the music route. I even wanted to move to LA and go to this recording academy they had. I don't remember the name of it now, but I did want to go that route. But something else called me. The thing is, music was just natural for me. It was in me. And I didn't mention that my father is a musician. So it was always a part of my life. I've always been the kind of person that wanted to challenge myself. And so the ha-ha about education is that when I was at Skyline, I wasn't doing much of anything. I was bored with class. Other than music, you will always find me in my classes, my music classes and my history classes. Everything else, it was neither here nor there because I was one of those kids that was just like bored with things that were just easy for me. And so I went into education, I think to challenge myself. My mother was in the Peralta Community Colleges for most of my life, all of my life pretty much. And so that segue from music to education was easy for me because that's been my mother's profession. But I do think that education was a challenge for me. And then another thing that I should say is that one year I decided to sign up for AmeriCorps.
Oh, okay.
And yes, I signed up for AmeriCorps and just to, get some experience, some community service experience. And at that time, there were a lot of people being killed in West Oakland. And so I remember I told God, I said, God, I want to work in West Oakland so I can, see if I can influence people and bring some more positive energy. There is some, of course, some positive energy in West Oakland. I don't want to be frivolous in my words, but there was a lot of killing going on. So I saw a position at McClymonds High School. And so I said, that's where I'm going. So I went to AmeriCorps, worked it out for me to get interviewed by McClymonds at McClymonds. They hired me that day.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yes. But what happened was I was so disappointed in their experiences, those students' experiences in comparison to the good things, the wonderful things that I experienced at Skyline.
Right.
And I'm going to say the God in me was like, okay, no, what can I do to help change this? That really solidified my decision into going to education.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really what solidified. Now, mind you, prior to that, I did go to school. I went ahead and I got 3 AA degrees.
He was racking them up. What are your AAs in?
Social, liberal arts and humanities, and social sciences. I went on to New College of California to finish my bachelor's degree as a cohort to go to seminary. And so I did go to seminary for 2 years. That's a long story, and it was an awesome experience. But I started, because of my experience or what I learned in my bachelor's program about Christianity, about religion, turn around and go to seminary, and they started teaching the class some things I know was incorrect. I said, no, this is not for me. I can't do this here.
Right.
So again, by this time I had, and I hope I'm not jumping all over the place, but I had found my way into McClymonds High School, and that's really what changed my mind. So from there, I went to Holy Names University, got my master's in education with an urban focus. Awesome. Did what I could with that in OUSD. Got bored again. I was like, you know what? I need to expand my life. Right. So I was like, I think I'm going to go to Howard. Looked up Howard. Chills went up and down my body. I was like, that's where I'm going. And that's how I ended up at Howard.
That's so amazing.
Earning a doctorate in educational leadership and policy studies.
That is so wonderful. What an amazing journey. And if you were to go back to West Oakland right now, you wouldn't even recognize the place is so gentrified. But it's so interesting how the dynamics have changed in just 20 years, just 10 years, really. But going into D.C., what is that experience like for you within the communities there? How do they compare to your experience in Oakland?
Well, let me say this about my journey to D.C. It's important to tell this part of my story. I knew in my spirit that I was going to go to DC to go to Howard University. I applied. I got accepted. I held off for 2 years. I was so afraid to leap. Then I made a decision like, no, I have to, because if I don't, I'm going to be stagnant, and I can't do stagnant. I can't do bored. Because then we get creative when we're bored.
Hello.
And so I literally made a decision to physically, not in spirit, not with heart, but leave my friends behind, my apartment, my car, my car, where I got my car shipped, but leave it behind until I was ready to get it. Love Center, Beth Eden, my family. I made a decision to just leap. So I quit. I had a teaching position with OUSD. I bought a one-way ticket. Wow. I didn't know where I was going to live. I had one girl I knew, one nice young lady that I met at Love Center. She happened to go to Howard for Divinity School. That's the only person I knew in DC. She helped me out. I went to see Obama's second inauguration. Within a 2 weeks time of that time, I stayed at Howard School of Divinity for 2 weeks. Wow. Found somewhere to live. Got a job with DCPS. It worked out, and I ended up finding a really nice place to live. Howard didn't even accept me into the actual program that I wanted to be in, but I just knew it had to work out because there was no other choice for me. So they eventually, after a year, they accepted me into the actual doctoral program. The point of all of this is that I totally jumped.
Right in, you really did.
Both feet in, not knowing anything but, God, I know you're going to work this out for me. And so what DC has done for me is teach me how to trust God, because I didn't have the answers. The only answer I had was, God, I know you're going to work this out. Right. That's the only answer.
That's the only thing you need, child. Sometimes that's it.
I'm trying to tell you. I mean, that's what DC has been for me. Even down the line, how was I going to pay for school? I was a graduate assistant for 4 years, unheard of. My tuition was paid. Of course, I did make it a point to show Howard, to prove to Howard, it is worth the investment. I'm worth the investment.
You made the commencement speech. I need to hear that story. How did that come about?
That story is amazing too, because I knew when I got accepted to the doctoral program, I remember telling my colleagues, I'm going to speak at our graduation.
That's
that
right.
Is exactly. I am so serious. I remember telling them, I'm speaking at the graduation. I'm speaking at the I said that as much as graduation came up, well, I'm going to be speaking at the graduation. And I did.
That's awesome.
And I did. So that's what DC has done for me. Trust God.
Yes.
Know the power of your words, know the power of your thoughts, know the power of your intention, the power of your movement.
Yes.
Power of God. So that's what DC has done for me.
And it helped launch a business and a new baby. So let's talk about your business in being a development coach. Tell me about that. How did that come about, and what exactly do you do?
Okay, sure. So I started a business called Desire and Truth Enterprises. And the funny thing about Desire and Truth is that it was actually a ministry or sub ministry that I and a friend of mine had or created when we were in our early 20s. Mm-hmm. We never signed any papers for it to be legal. We just started calling things Desire and Truth, Desire and Truth. So I was like, well, why don't I go back to that? The purpose of Desire and Truth is to empower. And I know there's a lot of empowerment coaches out there, and I get that. But my contribution is me, right? And my experience. And so, and all that I bring, my education background, my seminarian background, my spiritual journey, all of that, of course, contributes to what Desire and Truth is. So it is an empowerment organization. My target audience, of course, are women. Men are welcome as well. But really, I have a strong desire for women to say yes to themselves.
Yes.
Because I think we're conditioned to diminish ourselves, to think that we're not worthy of attaining and retaining and getting and having and being what we desire to be, desire to have. Yeah. And so we operate from a place of deficit, starting with not feeling worthy of having, being, doing. And I really want to change that as much as I can, do my part in changing that. And so, again, with all of my experience, all of my background, I have the capacity of building programs, building systems to help women to redirect their thinking to one of strength, knowing who they are, not only just as a woman, but knowing who they are through the eyes of their creator, knowing their power and saying yes to themselves, no longer no, or I'll just take a little, or feeling guilty about having, being, or doing. I want that to be totally reversed.
Which is awesome. That's the movement that society is on. And so, there are a lot of life coaches, but I encourage people to get on the bandwagon, because if more of us are like this, that energy itself is it's infectious and it's necessary.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And all of us have our part in that journey, what you're doing is part of that journey, what other women are doing. We all do our part. And as you know, it's just like a stone in a river or a stone in a lake. You throw it in and it's a ripple effect. Exactly. And eventually it affects the whole body. Right. So that's my contribution, Desire and Truth. We're empowerment. So I utilize social media outlets. I'll be organizing workshops and conferences. These are all things that I've done throughout my life, a lot of my life. But this will be, of course, in a more streamlined manner, specifically for empowering women.
That's wonderful. And so now that you're a new mommy to Cairo, who's a beautiful young boy, how has that shaped this journey that you're on to empower women as you raise a son? How has this kind of changed your perspective or enhanced you or changed you as a woman?
My son is such a blessing. The biggest lesson I've learned through bringing another human being onto this earth is to know it's like you are a badass.
Right. Your body just is a miracle, right?
The body's a miracle. I mean, if I can bring another human being onto this earth, that is amazing. When my son was born, now of course you have 9 months, and you feel him or her kicking and moving, you feel all the nausea and you go through all of that. But when the person actually comes out of your body, it's just like, whoa, girl, there was really a person in there.
A whole person. Girl, try pushing out one and then a whole nother one comes out right after that.
Right,
that was weird.
Twins, right. I mean, so I'm saying, my son, I'm proud of who he is as a person, but I'm also proud of what he made me realize about myself.
Which is?
So you have this awkward girl from Oakland, California, who wore those head wraps in high school, who only a certain few people would talk to because they didn't know where I was coming from. And then when I opened my mouth, they felt a certain way, whatever.
Haters.
You got this awkward, right. You got this awkward girl from Oakland, California, who may have looked so confident and had it all together to some people, but really didn't, really had a lot of self-doubt. Knew she was gifted, knew she had talent, knew she was very knowledgeable. And I was, right? But inside, I struggled. To now be 38 years old, graduated from high school with a 1.8, teachers telling me verbatim, you're not going to do much, to now having a doctorate from Howard University, having 2 years under my belt in a seminary, having traveled to Africa twice, Haiti twice, teaching in Haiti at one point. Well, at one point, I mean, all the amazing things that I have done, my son just was the icing on the cake. That, I had so many negative thoughts about myself to have now accomplished all these things and then now have a baby. I mean, it's been amazing. And I'm just so excited about being his mother, watching him grow, and I'm empowered by the thought that I get to be intentional about how he's raised and know that me raising him is not just about our family, but he's a stone. He'll be a stone in a body, right? He will have a ripple effect on other people's lives. So I want to make sure that I raise him in a way that is progressive, is ignited by love, ignited by knowledge, ignited by victory. That's who my son is, and that's who I intend for him to be, and I know he agrees with that.
Oh yes. Well, the love exudes off of my screen when I see all of your dedications and all of your posts about him, and he's so cute, and it's so beautiful to see. And we were talking before the podcast started about just having children and raising children is the toughest, most wonderful job that you'll ever have, and the bond between a mother and a son, especially, in the beginning, it's kind of like you're laying that foundation for the type of man that you want him to be later on. Because my son's 18, and while I don't necessarily always agree with everything he does or says, I know his foundation is there. Whenever he comes home to visit, he's like, Mom, I want to go to church. I need to go to church. I'm like, okay, I did something right. So even if you weren't listening to me, you were listening to something that is supportive of your growth and your development. And that's the journey of motherhood, is knowing when to hold on and knowing when to let go. And that's tough. It gets tough because in the beginning, you holding on. It's your baby, right? As they grow, you got to learn how to let go just a little bit more and a little bit more. And that's been a journey for me as well. So it's so beautiful to see you joining us moms on this journey, and you're a great mom, and I'm so proud of you, Joycelyn. I reached out to you because, again, I have a lot of friends who are empowering, encouraging, have businesses that they run, but I like your style. I like how you've done things. I've seen you grow up, glow up, and literally slay everything that you touch. And I love the testimony you just gave about going from a 1.8, which was like, it was sheer boredom. It was not a lack of intelligence. It was sheer boredom, because I remember being at Skyline. I was like, I can't take these little performing arts classes. I need to be an AP something. I need to be an honor something, because it was just boring me. And so I get it. And to the point where you've always walked to the beat of your own drum, but it's a drum that has been educated. It's been full of love and support. Like you said, you had a mother and a father who loved you and who were there to support you. And thank God, because it grew you up into this amazing woman that you're just getting started, girl. You've done so much, but you're just getting started. So
thank you.
You're running the race. You are ahead of the game. You're doing your thing. And I'm just so proud of you. So how can we get our audience and our listeners to get in contact with you and to potentially work with you in the future with some of your empowerment leadership?
Sure. So number one, you can email me at desire_truth@outlook.com. You can visit me online, www.desireandtruth.com. That's www.desireandtruth.com. And then, of course, I'm on Instagram, Joycelyn. So my name is spelled Joycelyn .Hughes, Hughes. Please visit me on Instagram, and I'm looking forward to conversing with your followers. And let's all get empowered and live the lives that we're supposed to live.
Awesome. Thank you so much for giving that. I'll also post this with the information underneath this podcast. So please feel free to reach out to Joycelyn. She has beautiful posts, beautiful videos that she posts that are empowering, encouraging, and inspiring. I'm going to go ahead and leave you with the last word. Give our listeners a bit of wisdom that you want to leave them with.
Sure. Believe in yourself. As cliche as that sounds, you must believe in yourself, because there is a God who invested him or herself in you. So you are literally walking manifestation, embodiment of God. Trust that, love that, know that you are loved, you are needed, and you can, in fact, indeed live the life that you are supposed to live. Not the one that's been told to you to live, but the best life that you can and you should live. It is possible, and you can do it.
That's awesome. And that is so right on and spot on. Thank you so much, Dr. Joycelyn. We appreciate you. We love you as well. Give love and kisses to Cairo for me. This has been Filter Free with Tahera Rene Christy, and we're signing off.
Yes, it's filter free.